In the early 70s in the Philippines, a brother and sister called Maya and Nathan Aguinaldo were learning from their roguish Filipino father how to be a smuggler, operating on the seas surrounding Southeast Asia. Following the unfortunate death of Maya and Nathan's father, they would continue together to operate his smuggling business successfully for years. In the 1980s, Edward Richtofen, as a part of Project Janice, set up a facility on Terminus Island, an old abandoned World War II fortress located in the middle of the Philippine Sea, which would be the ideal location for what he had planned. Needing funding and being the director of a subdivision of the CIA, he turned to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, where he partnered with them military-wise, where in return for funding on the island he would look at 3 different projects: a vaccine for bone cancer, limb regeneration trials, and dog ether bioweapons. In order to conduct all of these experiments on the island, Richtofen hired someone called Dr. Modi. However, after the approval of Project Janice's board of directors, Richtofen's motives for hiring her was different. He wanted Modi to be lead scientist of the island for her dark past. Dr. Modi was notorious for her human test trial experiments, going to lengths in the name of science that nobody else would. Above all, he hired her to accomplish one mission: to regrow a complete and functioning human body from a single DNA sample. Around the same time, back with Maya and Nathan, after continuing to successfully operate their smuggling business for such a long time, they made, as you could put it, a poor business choice and partnered with someone called Franco, who was the boss of a criminal organisation called the French Syndicate. Also at the same time, Richtofen hired Franco's French Syndicate and made 2 deals with him. The first one was for him to track down a relic called the Sentinel Artifact that he believed was located in the Principality of Avalon, and the second deal he made with Franco was for him to use his business partnerships to deliver refugees to Terminus Island, so that they could then be used as test subjects for Dr. Modi. And unbeknownst to Maya and Nathan, this was exactly what Franco was doing, using the refugees on boats that he was supposed to take to their next destination. However, halfway through, he would place them on a different boat and have them sent to Dr. Modi on Terminus Island. As these refugees delivered by Franco began to pour in on the island, he delivered so many people because Modi was going through that many people. All of these people she was experimenting on, all of these test subjects, wouldn't last longer than a couple of weeks. They couldn't withstand her trials. One of the things she learned was that humans don't tolerate Ethereum exposure without certain variables. There was more than just genetics that came into it. It had something to do with the mind that she couldn't quite pin down, causing her test trials to fail. However, there was one project that was making progress: the Amalgam program, which involved physical mutations. Experimenting on these people would transform them into unsightly monsters where some of them would have 3 heads, 5 arms, 4 legs. They would be bigger and exhibit superhuman strength. And these amalgams, as she called them, were more tolerant to Ethereum, and because of that, even began to show signs of advanced sentience. Modi theorized that if she could just get them to follow her orders, then she could synthesize a refined humanoid to protect humanity from any existential threat. These amalgams that Modi created were unlike the regular zombies. They were bigger, stronger, and smarter. After learning some of the refugees Franco was responsible for delivering had gone missing, Maya's brother Nathan decided to investigate. He learned of what Franco had been up to, and so Franco took Nathan on one of the boats and betrayed him, sending him along with some more refugees to Terminus Island. When he arrived there, he was placed in a prison cell. Now locked among the island's inmates, they would begin to talk to one another and share information about the theories they had of what was going down here. Inmates would be taken by Project Janice guards and never seen again, leaving the locked up refugees and Nathan to speculate where they had gone and what had happened to them. And the more they spoke, the more they pieced together, where they came to the conclusion that Dr. Modi was conducting experiments on people, leaving the inmates to fear even the mention of her name. One of the inmates died of a cardiac arrest just by hearing mention of Dr. Modi's name. That's how scared they became that they were going to be her next test subject. Not hearing from her brother for some time, Maya decides to contact Franco, however can't get hold of him, and so leaves a note at the bar telling him that she's been calling him, that people are missing, and other refugees say that he's moved a bunch of them to another boat in the middle of the night, demanding Franco to call her back now and tell her what he's done, leaving Maya no other option but to begin tracking down her brother. Back at Terminus, one of the island's tech ops members called Owen Guthrie, whose job it was to inventory subjects, after a while it started to take a toll on him, realizing that these test subjects who were being used for Modi's experiments were once people who lived their own lives, eventually causing Owen to lay awake at night, driving himself crazy over the thought of it. One day, as he was walking past the holding cells, he saw Nathan.
September 10th, 1990. I saw Nathan in subject holding today. I like him a lot, but walking by his cell always ruins my day. I mean, the kid's been a smuggler most of his life. He probably thought he knew the worst of what humanity could offer. And then he ends up here and realizes he doesn't know shit. So I'm protecting him the best I can, but Modi's been sniffing around. Someone must have told her he was a troublemaker. And the problem is they aren't wrong. He fights back on everything. He won't take his meds. He won't sleep. He won't eat. Why can't he get that? That kind of shit puts everyone at risk. If he ain't careful, Modi will transfer him to the Amalgam program. And that'll be the end of it. I've played it safe until now. Kept my head down. If I can't convince Nathan to do the same, damn it. This is why I don't have friends.
Feeling sorry for these people, Owen noticed that Nathan was bringing attention to himself to the point where Modi began to take notice. He would fight back on the guards, he wouldn't take his medication, he wouldn't sleep or eat. Owen knew that if Nathan wasn't careful, Modi would have him transferred to the Amalgam program. Owen warned him of this, but he didn't listen, and soon after, it happened.
October 23rd, 1990. Nathan got transferred to the Amalgam program. Just like I said he would. Didn't find out until after he'd been moved. Even if I'd been there when it happened. It's not like I would have done anything to stop it. I haven't slept since. Regret's been too busy gnawing at me.
Now that Nathan was a part of the Amalgam program, Modi started experimenting on him, where he himself eventually mutated into an amalgam, with extra heads growing off the side of him, 4 arms, double his size, quadruple his strength. He was placed in a containment chamber in the middle of the laboratory, and in order to make sure he doesn't escape, a lock code was placed on there that Owen knew. But due to Owen's own problems, his exposure to Ethereum and his memory loss, worried that he'd forget Nathan's lock code, he placed inconspicuous reminders around the facility to remind himself of the code if he did ever forget.
Most recently, the damn lock code of Nathan's containment unit's been slipping my mind. Poor fucking kid. Fuck this place. And fuck her. I got a reminder system for all 3 digits. I see them every day on my normal rounds, so it shouldn't raise suspicion.
Whilst in containment as an amalgam, Nathan's subject name was NA013, and unlike a lot of Modi's other experiments, he was still sentient. He was aware of what was going on around him. He still answered to his name, Nathan. He was motivated by food. He would eat other people or undead test subjects if he had the chance, and he was highly skilled in manipulation, and so the other scientists around the building were warned not to have a conversation with him, fearing that he could trick one of them into releasing him. But his manipulation tactics didn't work, and he remained in containment until the 19th of February 1991, where his sister Maya had eventually tracked down his location. Along with someone else called Dr. Peck, she travelled to Terminus Island, where after acquiring the assistance of some other inmates here, Weaver, Carver, Gray and Strauss, all of a sudden a zombie outbreak happens. Together, they attempt to escape the island, but not before trying to rescue Maya's brother. They find out exactly where he's being kept and go down to meet him.
Get the fuck out of here! I'm in so much pain. Every muscle in my body hurts.
Realising that they need a code to open his chamber, they find the clues that Owen left around the facility, enter it into the keypad, and free Nathan.
Can't think straight. So hungry.
Well, I told Maya to get him out.
What the fuck is that thing? It's only fair you should go away!
Nathan is too far gone and begins attacking them, trying to eat them. With no other option, they start shooting at him, where eventually they bring him down. As Nathan screams out in pain that it hurts, Carver points his gun towards him and approaches, but Maya stops him and says, "Wait, he's my little brother, my responsibility, this one's on me." As she points her gun towards his head, Nathan says to her, "Do it," in which she finishes him off, finally killing Nathan.
Do it.
Maya, I'm so sorry.